I'm so glad that I've gone after Kyle. Good morning, everybody, because I really totally agree with where Kyle was going with this notion of value. So for me, 20 years in financial services, 3 months at the Canadian Olympic team, and what's different is that on the financial services side of the equation, my job was to build the business cases and as to why we would take on a certain sponsorship or not, negotiate the deals with some of our friends here. In some really challenging circumstances, having to exit properties, really having to work through the business cases to why we would not renew a property, and delivering that feedback, which is not a fun thing to do. You're seeing a lot of consolidation in the marketplace, particularly for some of the bigger brands where they're very, very focused in certain areas. And so over time, you're definitely seeing that less fragmentation and less numbers of properties that brands are sponsoring. So in my short time at the COC and in speaking with our partners, what we're doing now is we're really pivoting to value creation, which I think really builds on what you're just saying, Kyle. And so that's not to say that revenue doesn't matter. Revenue matters a lot. Canadian Olympic team is a not-for-profit. 90% of our revenue goes right back to the sports system, whether that's funding Olympic athletes on the global stage, or it's celebrating Olympic values and really encouraging all Canadians to be Olympic in these times that are very, very challenging. So, what's important there is that, so we're sort of moving beyond revenue generation as the sole measure and pivoting to this notion of value creation. Certainly business is being disrupted everywhere we turn, but sport is not immune to disruption. And innovation is so critical to how we go to market and how we run our business. Long-term sustainable resources are really, really important for growth, to drive growth for ourselves, but also drive growth for the sports system. And our ecosystem of partners, whether that be our brands, our sponsor partners, our athletes, the sports system, everybody's looking for value. And so we're really pivoting our business to make sure that we're thinking about that. And so when I say that, ultimately, by moving toward less short-term thinking and more about long-term value, it's very much about really driving consideration and loyalty with whether that be our fans or our partners. And so let me tell you what I mean by that. So when we say value creation, there's many streams to that. Ultimately, revenue is one of them, so net new value. So what revenue are we bringing into the organization to drive this long-term sustainability? But then there's more value, better value. What can we do with our existing partners to make sure that they want to return and that they're really seeing value as it relates to loyalty with customers or consideration with new? And then there's shared value, which really, really matters. And that's about investing in not just the sports system, not just our partners' business, but very much about building a better Canada and how we can all do that better. It's doing business for good. And if you think about investing in the Canadian Olympic team, really it's about helping Canadians be more active and some of them actually making inroads on the world stage, right? So, some examples in terms of some of the deals that we have. We just announced Sobeys as our first grocery partner. They're our first grocery partner, perhaps because all of a sudden our property is relevant because we're providing value. They not only wanted to fund Olympic athletes on the world stage, but they wanted to have a direct impact in the community, a direct impact with our athletes. So of course they're giving cash, that's a big part of the deal, but what they're also doing is helping create an environment where our athletes have access to healthier options as it relates to food. So we literally, in some instances, might just back up a truck full of food right into our sport institutes across the country and make sure the athletes have what they need to train and compete better. You talk about Bell is a really, really important partner of ours. Bell gives phones to every single Olympic athlete, phones and data, which has tons of value to the athletes. But it's important to Bell to get their product out there and be really, really relevant in the context of the Olympic environment. And so when our Olympic athletes are on their phones and they're tweeting on Bell Let's Talk Day about a subject that matters to Canadians broadly and athletes specifically. That means the world to Bell because it's integrated their business. It's demonstrating from the athlete perspective that these phones matter and the topic matters, and that will help us with renewal and loyalty and demonstrating value.